It's the one thing we all try to escape, yet it's the only thing that truly shapes us. Most people spend their lives running from it, avoiding anything that burns, that challenges, that hurts. But the Stoics knew something the modern world has forgotten, that pain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally. It's the doorway between who you are and who you could become. When you're in pain, you meet yourself for the first time. You see who you really are when comfort is stripped away. You see what parts of you are strong and what parts are weak. Pain exposes the truth you've been hiding beneath distractions. It removes illusions. It breaks false identities. It brings you face to face with your limits, and then it dares you to surpass them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Pain is that obstacle. It's the resistance life gives you so you can grow. Just like muscles grow through strain, your mind strengthens through struggle. Without hardship, there's no evolution. Without discomfort, there's no depth. Every man who became great, every philosopher, every warrior, every leader, walked through fire and came out refined. But here's the truth most people can't stomach. The more you run from pain, the weaker you become. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you surrender a piece of your potential. You trade the man you could become for the illusion of safety. And comfort, my friend, is the silent killer of greatness. It lulls you into mediocrity while whispering that you're fine. But nope, you're not fine. You're just numb. The Stoics didn't glorify pain, but they respected it. They knew that pain is not punishment, it's purification. It's how life burns away what doesn't belong. Every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal, all of it is fire meant to strip away the unnecessary until only truth remains. Pain has a language, and that language is transformation. It doesn't speak in words, it speaks in lessons. When you lose something, when someone walks away, when the world hits you harder than you expected, pain is saying, wake up, rise, refine. And that's what makes pain sacred, because nothing else will bring you closer to your higher self than suffering faced with dignity. You'll never know how powerful you truly are until pain tests every inch of you and you refuse to fall. So stop running, stop resisting, let pain do its work, because every scar is not a mark of defeat, it's a signature of growth. Every wound that healed made you wiser, sharper, stronger. You were not meant to live an easy life, you were meant to live a meaningful one. And meaning is born through fire. Comment below this phrase to begin your transformation. My pain is my teacher, I am becoming through it. And if you're ready to rise above the illusion of comfort, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and join the Stoic Brotherhood, where we turn suffering into strength and weakness into wisdom. Comfort is the sweetest poison ever created. It feels safe, it feels calm, it feels like peace, but it's not peace, it's paralysis. It's the silent thief of purpose. The Stoics warned us, the more we indulge in comfort, the softer our spirit becomes, and a soft spirit cannot endure the storms of life. Modern men chase comfort like it's the prize of living. Soft beds, easy pleasure, constant entertainment, validation on demand. But none of those things feed your soul. They feed your weakness. They make you dependent on peace you didn't earn, and anything unearned will vanish the moment life tests you. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Comfort makes you fragile to your own mind. It teaches you to panic at the smallest inconvenience. You start to flinch at discomfort, not because it's unbearable, but because you've forgotten what it's like to be challenged. Pain, on the other hand, keeps you alive. It keeps you sharp. When you're uncomfortable, you grow aware of your edges. You learn discipline, patience, and endurance. Comfort lulls you to sleep. Pain wakes you up. Comfort tells you rest, you deserve it. Pain says move, you were made for more. Look around. The world glorifies ease. Everyone wants quick money, instant love, effortless results. But the Stoic path is different. It's the road no one wants to walk because it demands sacrifice. It requires you to do what most people won't, to embrace suffering as sacred. Because every time you walk willingly into discomfort, you build a kind of strength that luxury will never give you. Comfort feeds the ego, pain feeds the soul. The ego seeks pleasure, the soul seeks purpose, and they cannot coexist. The ego wants the world to bend to it. The Stoic learns to bend himself to the world. That's why most men crumble when life shifts, because they built their sense of peace on conditions. I'll be happy if I have her. I'll be calm when I get that job. I'll be content when I'm comfortable. Nope. True peace doesn't come from having things easy. It comes from being unshaken when things get hard. Marcus Aurelius didn't pray for an easy life. He prayed for the strength to endure a hard one. He didn't ask the gods to remove hardship. He asked them to make him greater than the hardship itself. That's Stoicism. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about becoming the man who can stand in it without flinching. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you stay the same. But every time you choose the harder path, the one that demands effort, patience, pain, you evolve. You grow into the version of yourself that comfort could never create. So if you're suffering right now, understand this. You are being invited to grow. Life is testing whether you're worthy of the next level of your own evolution. Don't reach for the easy way out. Don't drown your discomfort in distractions. Sit with it. Learn from it. Let it reshape you. Because comfort feels nice, but it changes nothing. Pain hurts, but it changes everything. To the Stoics, suffering wasn't something to be pitied. It was something to be studied. It was the forge of the soul. They believed that life's trials are not curses, but opportunities to practice virtue. Every moment of suffering is a test of courage, of wisdom, of temperance, of strength. And every time you meet pain with composure, you prove that your spirit cannot be conquered. Epictetus, once a slave, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He knew that freedom is not found in the world outside of us. It's found in the mastery of our inner world. He couldn't control the chains on his body, but he could control the thoughts in his mind. And that's why he was freer than most men ever will be. Suffering, to the Stoic, is not an interruption of life. It is life. It's the training ground of reason and resilience. The weak man curses pain and runs from it. The wise man welcomes it like a teacher. Because pain reveals what pleasure hides. It shows you where you're fragile, where your beliefs are shallow, where your discipline is fake. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That means every wound exists first in your perception. The event isn't what breaks you. It's your interpretation of it. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. When you start to see pain as necessary, as sacred, everything changes. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That's where transformation begins. The Stoic doesn't seek a painless life. That would be foolish. He seeks an unbreakable one. He trains his mind to remain calm under pressure, grateful under loss, and steady under chaos. The Stoic knows that adversity is not the enemy. Comfort is. Because pain sharpens the blade while comfort dulls it. Imagine this. Two men face the same hardship. One curses it, resents it, and collapses. The other breathes, accepts, and grows. The same pain that destroys one man builds another. What's the difference? Perception. The lens through which you view your suffering determines whether it becomes poison or medicine. That's why Marcus called pain a gift in disguise, because it gives you something no easy moment ever could: clarity. You see who you are without the mask, without the titles, without the distractions. You meet your naked self, and you either turn away in fear or stand tall and rebuild him stronger. The Stoic approach is not to fight pain or to wallow in it. It's to understand it, to welcome it as an inevitable companion on the path to mastery. Pain refines your perspective. It teaches humility, patience, endurance, virtues you cannot learn in comfort. When you can look at pain and say, "Thank you," you've ascended beyond the reach of the world's chaos. You've joined the rare few who can walk through fire and smile, because now you understand. Every hardship is a lesson in disguise, every struggle a chance to exercise strength. The Stoic doesn't avoid pain, he transforms it. The truth about pain is this: your mind doesn't actually fear pain itself. It fears the loss of control that comes with it. Pain threatens the ego, not the soul. The ego screams, "Make it stop," because pain exposes what's weak, what's fake, what's fragile. But the soul whispers, "Good. Now we can begin." You see, the mind is wired for survival, not greatness. It seeks the path of least resistance. It avoids discomfort like it's danger, even though discomfort is where every transformation happens. The moment you feel emotional or physical pain, your brain wants to retreat to safety, to escape the burn. That's the dark psychology of pain. Your own mind becomes the trickster. It convinces you to stay comfortable, to stay small, to avoid the very thing that would set you free. This is why most people never change. They run from anything that hurts. They distract themselves with noise, with people, with endless scrolling and stimulation. They numb the discomfort instead of decoding it. But pain doesn't vanish when ignored. It festers. It grows in the dark until it starts dictating your choices subconsciously. That's how you become enslaved by avoidance. The Stoics knew that running from pain only multiplies it. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary," meaning your fear of pain often hurts more than the pain itself. You rehearse suffering in your mind, imagining failure, rejection, loss, and in doing so you experience it 1,000 times before it even happens. That's not protection. That's self-inflicted torment. Dark psychology teaches that those who control their relationship with pain control others who can't. Because the world is built around pleasure and fear. If you can't delay gratification or endure hardship, you can be manipulated by anyone who offers comfort or threatens suffering. But the man who's not afraid to feel discomfort, he becomes untouchable. You can't bribe him with pleasure. You can't control him with pain. That's why pain is sacred. It's the great purifier. Every time you face it head-on, you dismantle another illusion. You realize that pain isn't fatal. It's familiar. It's not the end. It's initiation. Pain reveals that the limits you thought were real were only mental walls. Think of it like this. A fire can destroy or forge depending on how you stand in it. If you panic, it consumes you. If you breathe and endure, it tempers you into something indestructible. That's the alchemy of suffering. It either burns your weakness or burns your potential. You decide which one dies. In dark psychology, there's a concept called desensitization. The more you expose yourself to discomfort intentionally, the less control it has over you. The Stoics practiced this centuries before psychology gave it a name. They trained themselves through voluntary hardship, fasting, cold, silence, rejection, so that when real pain arrived, they didn't flinch. Their minds were already conditioned to endure. That's your task now. Stop treating pain like a punishment. Treat it like resistance training for your soul. Every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal, it's your mind's gym, and every rep makes you mentally stronger. Your goal isn't to eliminate pain, it's to master your perception of it, to see through the illusion that pain is something to fear. Pain is a message. It says, here lies the next level of your power. Once you realize that, you stop running, you start listening, you start transforming. Pain is energy, pure, raw, and unrefined. And like all energy, it can be wasted, or it can be harnessed. The average man wastes his pain. He complains, he escapes, he reacts. The Stoic channels it. He converts emotion into movement, heartbreak into focus, loss into discipline. That's the difference between collapse and transformation. Every great man you've ever admired has walked through pain and turned it into power. Marcus Aurelius led an empire through plague and war, while losing children, friends, and his health, and still wrote words filled with grace and clarity. Epictetus was enslaved and beaten, yet taught freedom of the mind. Seneca was forced to die by his own hand, yet met death with calm acceptance. They didn't just endure pain, they used it. That's the Stoic formula for transformation. Pain, reflection, understanding, power. But most people stop at the first stage. They feel pain and freeze. They resist it, drown in it, or distract from it. They never move to reflection. Reflection is where you start asking the hard questions. Why does this hurt me so much? What am I attached to? What belief is being challenged? That's where transformation begins, not when the pain stops, but when you understand what it's trying to teach you. Once you reflect, understanding follows. You realize the pain was not personal. It was purposeful. It wasn't meant to punish you. It was meant to reveal you, to show you where your strength was sleeping. And once understanding dawns, power awakens. You become untouchable because you no longer resent pain. You respect it. That's when life changes. You stop being reactive and start becoming creative. Pain stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something that happens for you. Every insult, every betrayal, every rejection becomes ammunition. You stop asking, why me, and start saying, try me. There's a principle in dark psychology called transference. It means redirecting emotional energy toward a different target. You can do the same thing with pain. Instead of letting it drain you, you transfer it into the pursuit of purpose. Use the fire of anger to train harder. Use the ache of loss to build discipline. Use the sting of rejection to sharpen your value. Every emotion has fuel inside it. You just have to point it in the right direction. The Stoic doesn't waste time seeking revenge on people. His revenge is mastery. His revenge is becoming the man pain tried to destroy. While others drown in self-pity, he builds in silence. While others complain, he studies. While others collapse, he adapts. That's transformation. You must begin to view pain as raw material. It's the clay from which strength, wisdom, and power are molded. Without resistance, there is no muscle. Without fire, there is no steel. Without pain, there is no transformation. And when you finally see pain this way, when you can stand in it, breathe through it, and smile, you reach a level of inner freedom no one can touch. Because pain is no longer your enemy. It's your tool. It's your training partner. It's your guide. Remember, the world respects results, not excuses. So let your scars be your proof. Let your silence be your answer. Let your calmness under chaos be the evidence of your evolution. You can't control when pain arrives, but you can always control what it creates within you. The Stoic doesn't run from pain. He walks toward it with steady breath and a quiet mind. He understands that pain is not a curse to be avoided, but a teacher to be understood. And that understanding begins with acceptance. Not passive surrender, active acceptance. The choice to meet life exactly as it is, without resistance or denial. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. Simple, brutal, true." The Stoic way begins where excuses end. Most people try to outthink pain. They analyze it, question it, protest it. But Stoicism teaches that pain loses its power the moment you stop fighting it. What you resist persists. What you accept dissolves. When you say, "This is my test," instead of "this is unfair," your whole perception shifts. Pain stops being the enemy. It becomes the curriculum. So how do you embrace pain stoically? There are 5 timeless disciplines. 1. Awareness before reaction. The moment pain strikes, physical or emotional, your instinct is to react, to panic, to run. Don't. Pause. Observe. Step back and watch yourself feel it. This distance between stimulus and response is where mastery begins. The Stoic trains himself to remain conscious in the fire. Pain cannot command what you can observe. 2. Acceptance without judgment. Don't label the experience as good or bad, just real. When you remove judgment, pain becomes data. It tells you something about yourself, about your attachment, about what needs strengthening. Acceptance doesn't mean you like the pain. It means you stop wasting energy resisting what already is. 3. Purpose through suffering. Ask the question, what is this trying to make me? Every struggle carries a seed of transformation. Heartbreak may be teaching you detachment. Loss may be teaching you gratitude. Fatigue may be teaching you endurance. The Stoic doesn't ask, "Why me?" He asks, "Who am I becoming because of this?" 4. Voluntary hardship. The Stoics practice discomfort on purpose. Cold water, fasting, solitude, silence. These weren't punishments, but preparation. They understood that comfort breeds weakness. When you train your mind to tolerate difficulty voluntarily, the involuntary pains of life no longer break you. So expose yourself to small discomforts daily. Build inner armor before life demands it. 5. Reflection and gratitude. Yes, gratitude, even for pain. Because pain reminds you that you're alive. It awakens your awareness. It strips away the illusion of control and forces humility. Seneca wrote that a wise man thanks fortune for adversity because it reveals his strength. Every wound you survive increases your capacity for wisdom. When you live this way, pain becomes predictable, not in its form, but in your response. You know it will come, but you also know who you'll be when it does. Calm, steady, grounded. The Stoic embraces pain as part of the training, because he's already decided that no hardship will define him. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace pain, the less it hurts. When you stop flinching, pain transforms into clarity. When you stop resisting, suffering turns into strength. That's the Stoic miracle. Suffering becomes fuel, not failure. So when life tests you, when you lose, when you hurt, when everything burns, remember this. You've trained for this. You were built for this. Endurance, it's not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't get applause, but it's where true power is born. Anyone can act strong when things are easy. Anyone can talk about discipline when life feels stable. But endurance, that quiet persistence through pain, that's the mark of a man who has mastered himself. The Stoics revered endurance because it reveals who you are when no one's watching. It's the moment you want to quit but don't. It's the moment you break down but still rise the next day. It's the art of suffering in silence, not because you're numb, but because you've made peace with pain. Marcus Aurelius didn't shout his strength. He wrote it privately, in journals that were never meant to be seen. His endurance wasn't for admiration, It was for alignment between his principles and his actions. He understood that enduring hardship with dignity builds a kind of inner stillness no comfort can give. Endurance is quiet defiance. It's when you look life in the eyes and say, "You can hurt me, but you will not move me." That's what gives birth to presence, that unshakable energy that others can feel, even when you say nothing. There's something sacred about silent suffering. When you endure without complaining, your pain stops being chaos and becomes order. It shapes you. It matures you. It transforms emotion into essence. You stop reacting and you start radiating, calm, grounded, unreadable. That's power most people will never understand. Dark psychology has a principle called emotional opacity, the ability to conceal your inner storms. It doesn't mean you fake calmness. It means you become calm. You've trained your nervous system to remain centered even under pressure. And that composure, that self-control, it's magnetic, it's intimidating, because the man who can endure silently is the man no one can control. You see, endurance doesn't just build patience, it builds presence. The more you endure, the less reactive you become. The world loses its grip on you. The insults, the failures, the heartbreaks, they still happen, but they no longer penetrate as deeply. You've built armor, not made of steel, but of serenity. When you endure long enough, something beautiful happens. Pain starts to serve you. It stops breaking you and starts building you. The things that once triggered emotional chaos now feel like light waves passing through a mountain. You become immovable. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Endurance is mental labor. Every moment you stay calm through chaos, every day you show up despite exhaustion, every time you refuse to let emotion dictate your response, you are chiseling your soul into something divine." But the real reward isn't the strength itself. It's the peace that follows, that deep, unshakable peace that comes from knowing, no matter what happens, you'll remain composed, because you've been tested and you didn't fold. That's the silent reward of endurance: peace, power, presence, the quiet confidence that no storm outside of you can ever match the calm within you. And when others finally notice that calm in you, that steady gaze, that slow breath, that quiet strength, they'll sense something sacred. They'll see a man who has walked through hell and made it home. Emotional pain is the most invisible and yet the most transformative kind of suffering. You can hide a broken bone, you can disguise exhaustion, but you can't hide heartbreak, not from yourself. It lingers. It sits in the quiet moments, in the empty rooms, in the late-night thoughts that echo back everything you wish you could forget. But here's the truth the Stoics knew. Emotional pain is not your enemy. It's the blacksmith of your soul. Every heartbreak, betrayal, rejection, and loss, all of it is sculpting you into something greater. When your heart breaks, it's not just shattering, it's expanding. It's creating more room for strength, for wisdom, for depth. Marcus Aurelius lost children, friends, and trust in people he once loved, but he didn't allow grief to define him. He wrote instead, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them." In other words, it's not the heartbreak that destroys you, it's how you interpret it. The Stoic transforms pain by taking ownership of its meaning. When she left, when they betrayed you, when the world turned cold, those weren't endings. They were awakenings. The universe was pulling you away from dependence and forcing you into self-mastery. Emotional pain is the bridge between weakness and wisdom. Walk it without fear. The dark psychology behind heartbreak is simple. It rewires the brain. When we love deeply, we form neural pathways tied to that person, to their voice, their scent, their presence. When they're gone, your brain experiences withdrawal, like an addict cut off from a drug. That's why the pain feels unbearable. But that same withdrawal is also your opportunity to reprogram. Every time you resist the urge to reach out, to dwell, to chase, you rewire your mind for independence. You train yourself to find strength where once you only found need. The Stoic embraces this process. He doesn't suppress emotion. He studies it. He feels the longing but doesn't obey it. He feels the sadness but doesn't drown in it. He allows emotion to flow through him like a river, not dammed, not denied, but directed. Heartbreak is the training ground of emotional mastery. It's where philosophy stops being theory and becomes survival. It's where all your wisdom gets tested. It's easy to quote Stoic lines when life is smooth, but it's in heartbreak where you find out if you live them. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men. Emotional pain is your fire. The question is, will you let it burn you or forge you? Every tear you've shed is evidence that you're still alive, that you're capable of feeling deeply. That's not weakness, that's potential. When that energy is harnessed with discipline, it becomes unshakable confidence. Turn that ache into art. Turn that grief into growth. Turn that heartbreak into hunger for your evolution. Channel every ounce of that emotion into something worthy. Your body, your craft, your mission. Don't numb it, transmute it, because when you do, you'll realize something profound. Pain doesn't leave you. It transforms into the fuel that propels you. There will come a day when the very memory that once tore you apart will make you proud. You'll look back and say, "That's when I woke up. That's when I stopped begging for peace and started becoming it." That's the Stoic secret. Emotional pain isn't a punishment. It's an initiation. It's how you rise from the ashes of who you were into the calm strength of who you're meant to become. Pain kills the ego so that the soul can breathe. That's its sacred purpose. Every time life breaks you, it's actually breaking the false you, the one who thought he needed control, approval, or validation to feel complete. And in that collapse, something real begins to awaken. You see, most people spend their entire lives asleep. They move through routines, relationships, and ambitions, never questioning who they are beneath it all. But pain wakes you up. It strips away your illusions one by one until all that remains is truth. It humbles you, silences you, and forces you to meet the self you've been avoiding. That self, quiet, unshaken, aware, is your higher self. Marcus Aurelius understood this. In his darkest hours, when grief and chaos surrounded him, he wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." That source is the higher self, the part of you untouched by loss, untouched by failure, untouched by anything external. It cannot be broken because it doesn't live in the world of conditions. Pain, when faced consciously, dismantles everything that is not truly you. The ego says, "I can't live without her." Pain responds, "Yes, you can." The ego says, "I need everything to go right." Pain whispers, "You only need your composure." The ego shouts, "I've lost everything." And pain calmly replies, "Now you are free." That's the alchemy of awakening, destruction before creation. Just like fire clears the forest so new life can grow, pain clears the false self so your authentic self can rise. That's why the Stoics didn't fear loss or suffering. They saw both as necessary initiations into the deeper truth, that your worth, your peace, and your power come from within. The higher self doesn't chase, it doesn't cling, it doesn't beg, it observes, it accepts, it endures, it acts when necessary and rests when it must. It's not cold, it's composed, It's not detached, it's discerning. When the ego wants to react, the higher self simply says, "Nope," because the higher self knows that reaction gives power away, while restraint multiplies it. This rebirth through pain isn't easy. It requires solitude, silence, and surrender. You'll feel lost at first, because you're shedding an identity built on external things. But keep walking. The emptiness you feel isn't death, it's space being created for something new. A mind that is no longer enslaved by emotion, a heart that loves without attachment, a spirit that bows to nothing. That's the version of you that pain was trying to create all along. Calm in chaos, strong in solitude, humble in power. The world can't shake a man who has faced himself and won. That's why Stoicism is not about emotionlessness. It's about alignment. It's the realization that everything that truly matters cannot be taken from you because it lives inside you. The higher self doesn't need recognition. It doesn't need noise. Its power lies in its stillness. That stillness is presence. That presence is freedom. So when pain comes, and it will, remember this. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to introduce you to who you really are. Every scar you carry isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof of your evolution. This is the part of your story where everything begins to make sense. The heartbreaks, the losses, the sleepless nights, the silence. They were never random. They were refinement. Pain was never your punishment. It was your passage. It burned away who you were not, so you could remember who you are. This is the Stoic transformation, the moment when you stop asking for the storm to end and start learning to walk in the rain. When you no longer see suffering as cruelty, but as training. When you no longer beg for life to get easier, because you've become stronger. Marcus Aurelius said, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That's you now. Everything that once hurt you now fuels you. Every rejection refined your focus. Every disappointment deepened your patience. Every heartbreak carved space for wisdom. You are no longer the man who flinches. You are the man who endures. Look at how far you've come. You've learned that silence speaks louder than reaction, that peace is more powerful than control, that detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. You've realized that pain didn't come to destroy you, it came to reveal you. You've learned to feel without falling, to love without losing yourself, to suffer without surrendering your spirit. And that is the birth of the Stoic, the warrior of the mind. You've moved beyond emotion into essence. You've learned that every experience, good or bad, is material for growth. The Stoic doesn't pray for comfort. He prays for the strength to face discomfort with calmness. And you, watching this now, are standing at that threshold. Pain has been your mentor. Discipline has been your weapon. Stillness has been your shield. And what emerged through it all is something rare. Self-mastery. The kind of strength that doesn't shout. The kind that simply exists, steady, grounded, and unshaken. You've learned the greatest Stoic truth, that transformation isn't found in the absence of pain, but in the mastery of it. You don't transcend by escaping the fire. You transcend by standing in it and realizing you are the fire. So now, when life tests you again, when people leave, when plans collapse, when pain returns, smile. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you know what it means. It's another opportunity to evolve, another call to rise, another step toward greatness. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, you are a student of it. You've learned the language of pain, and it no longer scares you. It strengthens you. You've walked through darkness and discovered your own light. You've suffered, but you've grown through suffering. This is your Stoic rebirth. You have transformed not by running from pain, but by walking through it with your head high and your heart open. You've proven that a man doesn't find himself when things are easy. He finds himself when everything falls apart, and he still stands tall. Comment below this phrase to seal your transformation. Pain is my path, and I walk it with power. And if this message resonated with you, if it awakened something deep inside you, make sure to like this video, comment your oath below, and subscribe to become a Stoic soldier, part of a brotherhood built on discipline, silence, and inner strength. Thank you for watching. And remember, pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your evolution.